All right, let's jump right in. We tend to think of our cars as just machines that we control. But what if they had a sense of their own? Like a secret sixth sense that could make our roads unbelievably safer. Today, we're going to look at the tech that promises exactly that.
Really think about that for a second. So many accidents happen because of blind spots. Hazards we just can't see until it's way too late. A kid chasing a ball into the street, a car slamming on its brakes 2 cars ahead of you in traffic. What if your car knew about that danger long before you ever could?
And no, I'm not talking about the voice that tells you your door is ajar. I mean a car that's constantly, and I mean constantly, talking to the world around it. It's creating this incredible web of shared information that lets it see and feel things far beyond its own cameras and sensors.
Now this superpower, it actually has a name, V2X. This is the core technology that makes this whole vision of smarter, safer roads even possible. So what in the world is it?
At its heart, the idea is actually pretty simple. V2X basically gives your car a mouth and a pair of ears to communicate with, well, everything else on the road. It extends the car's awareness way beyond its line of sight, which allows for much faster, much more informed decisions.
So, who is it talking to? Well, pretty much everyone. With vehicle-to-vehicle, or V2V, your car knows that the car 3 lanes over is about to brake hard. With V2I, it can literally talk to traffic lights to adjust your speed and cut down on traffic jams. And with V2P, it can even communicate with a pedestrian's smartphone. It's a whole connected network.
And all of this, it's all building towards one massive, really ambitious goal. We're not just making individual cars smarter, we're creating a truly cooperative system where every single part of the transportation network works together. The whole point is to see danger before it even has a chance to happen.
Okay, but this whole vision of a perfectly connected world, it runs headfirst into a very human and very digital problem. And it all boils down to a simple question of trust. If this system is going to work, we absolutely have to be able to rely on the information it's giving us.
This is the million-dollar question, right? If your car gets a warning message telling you to slam on the brakes, how does it know that message is from a real car and not some hacker trying to cause a massive pileup just for fun?
See, the issue is, our traditional security systems just can't keep up. They're way too slow to authenticate cars that are constantly moving in and out of range. And this opens the door for all sorts of nasty stuff, like spoofing, where a hacker pretends to be a car, or even something called a Sybil attack, where one hacker pretends to be hundreds of cars at once to create a fake traffic jam.
And this right here, this illustrates the fundamental problem, the real pickle we're in. On one hand, we all want our location and driving data to be private, right? We need anonymity. But on the other hand, to stop a bad guy, you have to be able to identify them. You need accountability. Anonymity and accountability are pulling in completely opposite directions. So how do you build a system that can do both?
Well, this is where a completely different kind of technology comes into play. It's something you've definitely heard about, but maybe not in this context. I'm talking about the blockchain.
Okay, forget about crypto for just a minute. At its core, a blockchain is really just a special kind of database. And that notebook analogy you see here, it's perfect. Every important event gets written down, and once it's in there, you can't erase it. The entire network has to agree to any change, which makes it incredibly secure and basically tamper-proof.
So how would this actually work with our cars? Well, let's say one car reports an accident. Other nearby cars and maybe some roadside sensors act as witnesses. They all chime in and say, "Yep, we see it too. This is real." That validated event is then packaged into a super secure block and added to this permanent, unchangeable chain. It's like a community-verified history of the road.
And by doing this, blockchain directly tackles those security challenges we were just talking about. Suddenly, trust isn't in one central place. It's spread out across the entire network. The data becomes unchangeable, which is amazing for things like accident analysis, and it lets us have these secure identities that are anonymous most of the time, but can be traced if someone is proven to be acting maliciously. It sounds like the perfect fix.
But you knew there was a but, right? It's not quite that simple. As with pretty much everything in tech, blockchain isn't some magic bullet. It has some very, very real limitations, especially in this super high-speed world of driving. This quote from the research, it just nails it. Blockchain is an incredibly powerful tool, for sure, but it was never meant to replace the instant, real-time communication that V2X needs to keep us safe. It's designed to do a completely different job. And this table here lays out the difference perfectly. Think of V2X as a shout. It's for instant temporary messages like "break now." Blockchain, on the other hand, it's more like carving something in stone. It's for creating a permanent, verifiable record of something that already happened. One is for the split-second reaction, the other is for the official history book.
And this is the absolute key takeaway. That whole process of getting community verification and adding a block to the chain, even in the fastest systems, it takes time. It's time you just don't have when a car is about to blow through a red light. V2X needs to happen in under 100 milliseconds, and blockchain just can't move that fast.
So, does that mean we just toss the idea out the window? Nope, not at all. It just means we need to be smarter about how we use these amazing tools. And that leads to this vision for a hybrid future, a concept that's been called drive chain.
The idea behind drive chain is actually pretty brilliant. You don't replace anything. You let V2X do what it does best, handle all the lightning-fast, real-time stuff, and then you use blockchain as a background layer, like an unbreakable ledger that handles all the trust, the identity, and that permanent record of important events.
So this model would have a few key pieces. You'd have an event registry on the blockchain for that tamper-proof history we need. You'd have an identity layer that finally solves that privacy versus accountability problem. And here's the really clever part, an incentive system. By rewarding drivers with tiny little digital tokens for sharing reliable data, you actually encourage everyone to participate and make the whole network better.
So what's the whole point of all this? Of all this complex technology? Well, it's this number, 0. A world where V2X communication is instant and the information is completely trustworthy? That's a world where we could, in theory, eliminate traffic accidents altogether. That's the ultimate dream. But that brings us right back to the central, most difficult question. To get to this level of perfect cooperative safety, our cars would need to share a truly massive amount of data. So it forces us to ask, what's the right balance? To create the safest roads we can possibly imagine, what are we as a society willing to put on that public ledger?